Hello, friends of Open Circle. This is Brittany.
And Mark.
And we're here to bring you a slideshow today on Jane Goodall, who is a well-known scientist, conservationist, peacemaker, and mentor.
You know, if I didn't know better, Brittany, I'd say that was you in the illustration and not Jane Goodall.
You know, it looks a lot like me, Mark.
It looks exactly like you.
However,
Seriously, that
I
looks
have
like
never
you.
been to Africa.
That's probably
Unlike
not
Jane
you.
Goodall.
No, but looks like you.
Let's take a look at her early life.
She's cute. Born April 3rd, 1934.
You know, Mark, that's funny because that's my birthday.
I was just gonna say, weren't you also born in 1934?
I was not, but I was born on April 3rd.
Okay, I thought you were born in 1934.
A few years later.
I would have guessed that. And London, England, she was born Valerie Jane Morris Goodall.
Huh.
And a little quote here. If you really want something, and you really work hard, and take advantage of opportunities, and never get up, well, hang on, never give up, you will find a way. Jane Goodall.
She's adorable.
She's so cute.
She loved animals from a very early age, as you can see from that photo of her with a puppy.
And puppies are a lot like chimps.
They are. In 1941, you know, Jane is just loving animals.
She is.
She would even sit in a very small shed for 5 hours to watch one hen lay one egg.
You know she's going to be a scientist.
You just know it. After reading the story of Dr. Dolittle, she herself desires to go to Africa to study animals.
My daughter's reading Dr. Dolittle right now.
Does she like it?
She loves him. Yeah.
Her first taste of nature, 1957.
In July 1960, at the age of 26, Jane Goodall traveled from England to what is now Tanzania and ventured into the little-known world of wild chimpanzees.
Let's take a look, shall we, Mark?
I think we shall.
We have a little National Geographic video here to share with you all today.
See if you can find me in the video.
Louis Leakey sent me to Gombe because he believed that an understanding of chimpanzees in the wild would help him to better guess how our Stone Age ancestors may have behaved. It had long been thought that we were the only creatures on Earth that used and made tools. Man the toolmaker is how we were defined. And here was David Greybeard using a tool. It was hard for me to believe what I'd seen. A few days later, I watched spellbound as chimps set off to a termite mound, picked a small leafy twig, then stripped it of its leaves. That was object modification, the crude beginning of tool making. It had never been seen before. When I telegrammed the news to Louis Leakey, he responded that we must now redefine man or accept chimpanzees as human. My observations at Gombe would challenge human uniqueness, and whenever that happens, there is always a violent uproar. There were some who would try to discredit my observations because I was a young, untrained girl, and should therefore be disregarded. The result of it all, however, was that Louis was able to obtain a grant from the National Geographic Society to continue my study. In addition, they would be sending out a photographer to document the chimpanzees.
Wow.
Wow. So before Jane Goodall, really, Mark, no one had taken the time to really explore the behavior of
Right.
chimps.
And they didn't realize how complex, their ability to problem solve was until they actually watch them not only using a reed or a piece of grass to get at the termites, but to actually modify that piece of grass, to strip it of the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That tool modification.
Yeah, which is what humans do.
And by the way, those termites made me so hungry.
Did they?
Yes. Brittany, can I
Could
get
you
you
go
anything?
for a termite or two?
Like some chocolate-covered raisins would be good right now, maybe, or
Chocolate-covered termites.
grapes.
Grapes are good.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Mark, whatever you have in the cupboard.
Okay.
So by 1962, Jane Goodall was arranged to attend Cambridge University in the UK to receive her PhD in ethology, the science of animal behavior. And she did this through a grant from the National Geographic. She finished her thesis in 1965, and by then, she was very eager to get to Africa to
I would
study
imagine.
these animals.
Wow. Jane and National Geographic. After her first term at Cambridge, Jane heads back to Africa. A photographer-filmmaker from the National Geographic magazine comes to observe her and the chimps. His name is Baron Hugo van Lawick. He follows her through the jungle, taking pictures as she works.
And wouldn't you know it, the two get married.
I knew that was going to happen.
You had a feeling.
I totally knew it when
Was
I
it
met
the
him.
photo on the screen, Mark?
This is the first time I heard Baron Hugo van Lawick. I'm like, oh, that's it. Love at first sight.
I mean, with a name like that.
That's my name, nickname.
Is it?
Baron.
I've heard people call you that.
Mm.
On March 28th, 1964, Jane and Hugo get married.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. They return to Gombe to continue researching chimps. Eventually, they have to add assistants as Jane's work is growing. In March of 1967, she gives birth to her son, Hugo. They nickname him Grub.
Oh.
I hope the chimps didn't want to eat him.
I hope not either. Don't call him Grub in front of the chimps.
Aww. Here's a photo of their family. He would travel along with them
Cute picture.
from the UK to Gombe.
Wow. What a fascinating upbringing.
Yeah,
know?
amongst the chimps.
Yeah.
In 1974, Jane and Hugo are divorced.
What?
She meets Derek Bryson, the head of the Tanzanian National Park. They marry in 1975. Their marriage doesn't last long, however, when he dies of cancer in the same year.
I didn't think there'd be so much drama in this presentation, Brittany.
I'm sorry. I'll get you a
What's going on
Kleenex
with
box.
this slide? I know. I'm a little upset.
I'm sorry, Mark. I should have warned you.
I didn't realize. The start of something huge. July 14th, 1960. Having successfully obtained the funds to study primate behavior, Jane embarked on her quest, setting down in Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania, then a protectorate of the United Kingdom. At this time, the world knew very little about chimpanzees, and even less about their unique genetic kinship to humans. She took an unorthodox approach, neighbor instead of observer.
She really lived among them. She wasn't just observing them. She became, with her behaviors, one of them.
I'm in touch with that.
Mm-hmm.
People often say that I act like a monkey.
I have heard people say that.
I know. Have you? No?
I have, in a good way.
Okay. Emotions and long-term bonds. Found that chimps can learn to make and use tools and redefine the relationship between humans and animals in ways that continue to emanate around the world.
Yes, she was really the first person who really took the time and had the interest to really delve into the chimps' behaviors and how they related to
Chimpanzee
humans.
society.
Yeah, no one had really taken the time to do that before. And in order to really observe them, she had to act like them. She slept among them. She
Oh God, you think
ate
she
with
ate some of the
them.
termites?
She might have eaten some termites, Mark.
High in protein.
Her first publication was in August of 1963. Here's a quote from her book, My Life with the Chimpanzees.
In an English accent, please, Brittany.
A sense of calm came over me. I don't do an English accent.
You really don't.
More and more often, I found myself thinking, this is where I belong. This is what I came into this world to do. My Life with the Wild Chimpanzees by Jane Goodall. The fascinating story of one of the world's most celebrated naturalists.
Wow. The foundation of the Jane Goodall Institute, 1977. In 1977, after observing the damage done by people in the wildlife in Africa, Dr. Jane Goodall founded the Jane Goodall Institute in an attempt to prevent the future destruction of the environment and the mistreatment of the animals. Only if we understand will we care. Only if we care will we help. Only if we help shall we be saved. Jane Goodall.
Count me in for conservation.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
She also founded Roots and Shoots in 1991, which was a global program for the youth to protect the environment. And it is today in over 100 countries. Here's some of the impact that the Roots and Shoots program has had on the world and all of the things that they have done. What do you see here, Mark?
I can barely read that, Brittany. Well, it looks like there are over 5,000 members worldwide. It looks like 320 mini grants have been awarded on approximately $68,000 in projects. And the extraordinary impact upon the, it says, through an astonishing 90,000 total hours of service, members of Roots and Shoots and their projects served over 1 million people, not to mention the impacts of other animals on the environment. This is incredible, and there have been over 1,200 projects around the world.
Around the world.
I say a big huzzah for Jane Goodall.
Huzzah.
I think the world needs more Jane Goodalls today, frankly.
It really does.
It's a need.
Our world needs it. And as I mentioned, it is in 100 countries around the world.
Particularly North American continent. Look at that.
Yeah. And parts of Africa.
Was New Hope on that map?
It was, Mark.
Did you see it?
Within the United States. Specifically Minnesota.
Oh, so it was there.
It was.
Global Recognition 2002. The United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan appoints Jane to serve as a United Nations Messenger of Peace. And this was on April 16th, 2002.
I remember that day. It was a really big deal. Can you imagine being appointed a United Nations Messenger of Peace?
I am one.
That'd be quite an accomplishment.
I've been there and done that.
Have you?
3 times.
Wow. You are amazing, Mark.
I don't boast.
I'm amazed by you.
I'm amazed by me, too.
I am more amazed by Jane Goodall.
That's probably
No
rightfully
offense.
so. A global force for compassion and action. Today, Jane Goodall travels around the world, writing, speaking, and spreading hope through action, encouraging each of us to use the gift of our life to make the world a better place. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Jane Goodall.
We have one more video to share
In
with
celebration of Jane's 80th birthday in 2014, https YouTube VK5DK. What? Oh, I wasn't supposed to narrate that.
I can go back if you want me to.
It's okay.
This was from Jane Goodall's 80th birthday in 2014.
Same year I had my 80th birthday.
Hello. We have found that after all there isn't a sharp line dividing humans from the rest of the animal kingdom, as we find animals doing things that we, in our arrogance, used to think was just human. I know that they share our emotions, pleasure, joy, sadness, fear.
Oh.
I knew there was deforestation going on around Nepal, but I was not prepared for the absolute devastation. I couldn't just stay in Gombe watching chimpanzees leading an idyllic life. I had to try and do whatever I could. But it's not really possible to think about conservation unless you bring the people into the picture. It's where they live after all. I'm very determined. We here think globally, act locally. Don't. If you think globally, you become filled with gloom. But if you take a little piece of this whole picture, my piece, our piece, this is what I can do here. I'm making a difference. And hi, wow, they're making a difference over there, and so are they, and so are they. And so gradually the pieces get filled in, and the world is a better place because of you.
God bless you, Jane Goodall.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
I hope you enjoyed our program.
There will be more to come. Stay tuned.